let's talk about your new album, the Dark Ride. It has been a long time since your last studio album, Better Than Raw, except for this tribute album, Metal Jukebox. Did you take a decision to have a long break, or did it just happen?
No, it was quite actually the plan to make some holidays, at least half a year doing nothing, and then go on songwriting and someone record a new album. That it was pushed back again was mainly because Roy didn't have the time to start beginning of the year, but on spring, then after the Rob Halford production. So everything was delayed. So we had to wait for Roy as well.
This is the first time you use Roy Z as a producer. Was that very important for you to have him as a producer? I mean, since you waited for him?
Yeah, I mean, we all wanted to have some influences he was famous for, and try to input that in our new music or into the typical Hello music. Anyway, we decided also to take a Charlie Bauernfeind, who was more or less a security net, because that guy is coming from the mid-'80s power metal scene, like producing Motorhead, Saxon, Gamma Ray, Angra. So he's mainly for the typical metal sound, and was, if you ask me, very important to bring Roy sometimes down to the ground.
So you actually brought the two guys together. They hadn't worked together before?
No, they did not even know each other. So we got to know both of them on the island for a week, and actually the band wanted to decide for one producer. So when it happened to be that they both were on the island to the same time, and we saw that both of them liked each other very, very much, so they from the first evening on were laughing and drinking together. It looked like it also could be a good idea to go with both of them.
You said you wanted some new influences on the album, maybe a different sound this time. What do you feel about the sound on your new album, The Dark Ride, compared to your previous albums?
Well, the previous albums are more in the typical mid-'80s direction, if you ask me, sound-wise. But now on The Dark Ride, you suddenly have a nowadays sound without the necessity of changing your music. That is the lazy way, and suddenly you end up to be a band which are more or less in a nowadays sound without having change too much on your music. This was, like, for us, the most secure way.
All right. As far as I understand, you did write most of the songs separately for this album. Did that mean anything for the result?
I don't know. I mean, the band just has written ideas and songs as we always do. And the only thing that changed, we decided to let other people decide which of the already recorded 16 tracks would end on an album, and which of the recorded songs would be B-sides and bonus tracks. That was mainly the biggest difference. So who has written the majority of songs on this album is more or less accidentally for the band, and laid in the responsibility of the record company and management.
The Dark Ride is your first album for Nuclear Blast. Was it hard to pick a new label for this album?
In the beginning, it looked like nobody was sure whom to trust or what to take. Then the band itself hasn't have very good experience with major companies like EMI, for example. Myself, I come from Sony Records and didn't appreciate that very, very much. So major companies were always like, nobody knows how to deal with suit-wearing, number-selling people. So with Nuclear Blast, you definitely have people who grew up with a metal scene and actually founded the company years and years ago because they were a fan of that music. So it's no suit-wearing people over here. So that makes it easy.
Okay. Did you consider to stick with Castle Communications, where you released your last albums?
Yeah, there were also talks about going on with Castle, but on the other hand, we all know that Castle Communication is a record company who mainly deal with backup catalogs of non-existing bands or not alive bands, which doesn't make it easy for a band like Helloween, which is alive and going, because you haven't got all the offices in the certain countries. Now with Nuclear Blast, you have an office in every country in Europe, and you know there are people working for you, and even like the media, the press could give them a call in their country, which wasn't possible with Castle Communications.